Yorgo! Let's go, come on. Immediately, I have to start at 7:30. I'm gonna break the record if I don't start.
7:10.
I think we can finish it very quickly.
Go out for drinks.
No, we're gonna start then. My brother. My trip was great. Get out of here now. Sit down. The parade is obviously over. Week meetings that are taking place, we decided to have a little bit earlier. Okay, so not all the numbers are plus or minus in. Okay, so it's not going to vary much from what we're going to discuss tonight. But certain bills still have to be paid, but they're all accounted for, and certain other things, receivables, are also there. So with that, I'm going to, before I start though, I want to thank you all. No, close the lights. Close the lights. Close the lights.
We can't see you.
No, it's okay. Don't see me because I'm going to be blind. I want to thank all of you, by the way, all of you, for giving me the honor of being your the chairman of this year's parade. I want to thank all the people of the different committees who did a fantastic job. I want to thank, obviously, my vice chairman who were there, and all the chairs of the committees who did an excellent job. What happens when you work together? And what I'm going to do is introduce Peter, who's done a magnificent job with many different hats, who's going to go over the economics, and then I'm going to discuss basically what took place.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes just to make sure everybody gets a copy. But I got it all onto one page. The entire season summarized in one page right here. So it's been my honor to serve as the financial chair. I have to say, it's been a tremendous year. I think the parade was very, very successful on a number of different fronts. I want to, enlightening us and doing all the programs that he did before the meetings and the number of activities and events that we had. If you recall from last year, I followed a similar format, but I went by event and type of expense that we had. So on the top half sheet, I basically go through all the major events that we had, starting with the Russian tea room, which I guess might have been the official kickoff, which there's no income, no expense, because Lou had basically been generous to make the entire expense for that event. So that was a net zero. The Vimata Rateria, the Steps of Freedom, that was an event that was, a weekend event here. Basically, there was really no event because it was here, $7 income from donations. The Missing Greek Independence, Mondo Yanus competition on March 22nd. We had 1,850 in income that consisted of donations and as well as entry tickets. And we had the expense there was really the scholarships that were given out to the first, second, and vice winners. So, basically, I have a column for income this event. And then if there's outstanding money that we have to collect or pay out, I have a separate column for that. The third thing is the radiothon. The words were even smaller because I had a column for the chairperson for each event. But in order to make the words bigger, I had to take out certain information. So the radiothon, I think, was very successful. There was about, I think, $850 pledged, of which $9,800 was collected, and there's still $4,250 outstanding. So obviously, that's a clear, basically, income for the overall parade. It was it was, which again, certain other fundraising. The next event, the Scholarship Essay Award Revolution to Revolution cultural event, right here at the stuff. That one we had specific donations towards it. The expenses included the Athens 75, and we also gave out the Scholarship Essay Awards, I believe, that evening for $900. So that was, considered, another cultural event that was a straight cost to the overall parade series of events. The next one, Spirit of 1821, the music costume and living legacy, Souvenir, on April 14th. Again, we had no specific income on that one, and the expenses there again was let's see here. Was $21.50. Was basically for the singer and the music. So that was the cost of $21.50 to the overall series of events. The hymn by Ian, again, no specific income, but there was a $1,900 expense there. That was for
the song for the first.
the engineer and the choir, right? So that was a $1,900 expense, overall net expense. The next one was the Bridging Revolutions, LS in America, Liberty Boat Cruise on April 17th. There we had two donations from Lou Katsos and Apple, $3,000 each for $6,000. And the charter fees was the biggest expense with the meeting with the DJ, totaling $16,912. So there was a $10,000 plus, cost to the activities. Next was Bowling Green, which no specific income, and just the sound systems there was $1,150. So that's the cost of it there. Let's see here, did I skip something?
Athens Square.
Then Athens Square, normally we do it outside at Athens Square, but we had moved it indoors. So because we moved it indoors, we didn't have to pay for whatever we normally pay over there. So that was just a net zero, no income, no expenses. The Parade Gala, there's a lot of different, line items there. The nice thing is that it was probably our single biggest fundraising activity, which is what it kind of should be. So it was total $320,000. The biggest cost there of the income was $320,000. We had a lot of very generous benefactors ranging from one at $25,000, one at $20,000, one at $15,000, four at $10,000 each. The majority were 34 at $6,000. And we also had an auction, I guess it was a silent auction, where the proceeds from that was a little over $5,000. So the net income for the gala was about $320,000. The biggest cost was was Cipriani's, which was about $170,000, I believe, something like that. The audiovisual was a pretty significant number, close to $30,000. The band was $5,500. The benefactor gifts was close to $6,000. Flowers, $3,700. Tips, $3,000. So the total cost was about $223,000. So again, the net, proceeds from the gala was about $96,000, which was very successful. Kudos to the chief. The next one, the PR reception. We basically had our Grand Marshal Nick Tsakos had made a $25,000 donation, which pretty much covered most of the costs for that event. And the actual hotel was $26,000. There were a couple other small amounts, sound system, event insurance for $27,000. So that was pretty. I think it was a much better year. All Vasilios, it looks like we So far to date, we've collected, we've collected, I believe, over $40,000 in ticket sales. So depending on what's still coming in that Salo hasn't yet, processed yet, it's sure to be greater. The other, what's considered income is the actual donations, because we had over $11,000 in cash prizes, which was matched by the individual donors. So for every cash prize that was given out, there was a respective donor that basically subsidized it. It's a net zero, but it still reflects in the income and the expenses. Because things like we haven't paid out the prizes yet because the drawing is going to be on May 31st. It's still shown as like outstanding liability in terms of we're going to be paying out those prizes when they're determined. And hopefully we'll have some generous winners when they get to $2,500. They'll say, "Oh, okay, keep the money," and then there'll be an additional benefit to the parade. The journal wasn't as good as last year. We probably were about we're about 57,000, I believe, in income. Well, maybe we're close to about 65,000 in basically collected journal ads. 8,500 was the printing costs. So right now, as of today, the net income was 49,000. And we're still outstanding $7,000 from people who haven't yet paid their commitments for the journal ads. The administrative expenses, which includes a lot of miscellaneous things, including bank service fees, some other services, postage, insurance. The biggest thing there was our parade administrator, Stavros Papagianmanos, and that was basically a straight expense to the overall parade. And since I said his name, I want to give Stavros a lot of credit because he basically did the job he did last year, and he took over basically the lion's share of the financial treasury type of function in terms of taking on the QuickBooks, maintaining the accounts, and made my job a lot easier. So I want to give Salo a round of applause right now, because he might get a little grumpy, as a lot of us do, but he's very organized. He's got a very systematic thought process, and as long as people don't all hit him at one time, believe it or not, he hits his marks. So I give him a lot of credit, and hopefully we'll all be very fortunate if he decides to continue next year. So what do we have next? So the PR, media, advertising, for a lot of our friends here, that we actually did, we put ads in their, in whatever media that they use, whether it's print or electronic. There was about, 21,000, I believe, in total costs there. And for most of a lot of it hasn't yet been paid out. That's why it's shown still as an outstanding liability. Including in the administrative expenses, we're projecting, going back to the administrative expenses, we're projecting continued expenses, including Stavro continuing to work, because we have to close out everything associated with the parade, and it's probably going to take us into June and maybe beyond. So that's why we're anticipating certain expenses continuing. Then printing, banners, posters, tickets, invites was about $3,000. Miscellaneous expenses in cash, ultimately that's going to basically zero out because we took money out of the bank so that we can have readily cash available for tips. But those were then applied within each individual event when we gave it, like for instance at the gala, I think it was like 3,000 in tips to the different staff. So that came out of an original $7,500 cash withdrawal that we're going to basically zero out and we're all settled out. And let's see here. The Evzones, the only expense that we incurred for the Evzones really was the tables, which mostly were subsidized by benefactors who paid for the tables, and basically a little bit of a haziviki that I guess the government tells us to give them when they come, so they have a little walking around money when they're in New York City. So that was really 30. So basically, the only expense of the parade was $31.50. Then the parade day incomes and expenses, some of the big ticket items, the registrations. That was a straight income. Basically, we take in the float fees, straight income, $14,000. The marching bands, basically, we pay out usually more for the marching bands that we actually charge, so that's why there was a little bit of a deficit on that. The general parade donations was a little over $4,400. The grandstand and bleacher rentals was close to $52,000. The sound systems and the announcer stage was $6,500. Sashes, $1,160. Flags was $4,500. And I think we have a little bit of outstanding to settle up with the traffic control people. So with all said and done, we had about 538,000 of income to date, 413,000 in expenses. I'll skip the next one. We basically have about $24,000 net of money that we're going to be paying out. So right now, the way we're projecting is that this 2026 parade is going to yield a surplus of a little over $100,000. So, and that was with, a lot of generous people, no one single person making a six-figure, donation. It was a lot of generous people, a lot of hardworking people, volunteer efforts, and, again, it's everybody's credit here. And just on the bottom, I put the accounting of the bank accounts. It doesn't necessarily, it's not expected to reconcile completely, but, we have a lot of accounts payable that are still out there, so that's why, as of today, we have over $180,000 surplus, but that's eventually going to balance out with and match up with our overall surplus of about $101,000.
Very
So,
good. Very good. That's very good.
all right.
Thank you.
So, congratulations.
I think what's important also in particular, some of the events that we're talking about that show us deficits. Don't forget that these events were very important to the donors who eventually paid certain amounts with regards to the gala and all the rest of that. So we were very fortunate in terms of all the different events that we had. Now, one thing we discovered this particular year is that this place is underutilized. Because this year, as you know, we've done an amazing amount of events here, whether they were costume events, whether they were dance events, etc. So I have to discuss the importance of what we're talking about in terms of the profit, because many people may not understand, how these parades have been going on for the last few years. So I just want to give you the numbers because they're very important. For those who don't remember, because it's extremely important to remember this. Originally in 2022, when there was the issue of problems within the Federation, the parade that we had in 2022 needed some money to start. And it was an agreement between the two parties to put in $50,000 between the two groups. So $50,000 was put in by the Federation people. The parade in 2022 netted out 42,500. The parade in 2023 netted 32,000. The parade in 2024 netted 15,000. And the parade last year, which had a $109,000 profit, with the donation of $100,000 by the ambassador, it really, if you take that out, that parade only netted out $9,000. Okay, so if you look at the stream that we're talking about, since we've had the lack of a unified federation, It goes from 42 to 32 to 15 to 9. So when we talk about $101,000 profit, put that in your minds as to what it means. Because from the beginning, we did not want anyone to buy in the grand marshals of the parade. We made that a firm scenario. So this money that was accumulated this year was not about somebody just dumping in 100,000. It was about a whole bunch of little money coming in. The other thing that's a little bit different about this particular year is we're a little bit tighter with regards to how we did the gala. For example, in the past, there used to be many comp tables. Because of people's donations, let's say, of tables, there was only one comp table this year, not 6 or 7 like the previous years. And that's part of what's reflected in the numbers, quite frankly, and what is made at the gala. What we did is we elevated this particular parade, multiple events, 20 some odd events, whatever, 25 events, we had some of them are not listed here. And I think it was an extremely successful parade. And it was successful, in my opinion, because the Federation ran this parade. Not somebody else, the Federation ran this parade. Because both of you, and I'm honored for that, both of the two sides made me their chairman. So what's my thoughts about going forward? My thoughts about going forward is use this as a base, and build upon it. My opinion is that the parade, if handled correctly, if there's a unified federation, and I pray for that, and we have the appropriate leadership at the federation, there is no doubt in my mind that you can net $200,000 a year. There's no doubt in my mind. Why? Let's look at, for example, what took place with regards to the journal. In the past, we've had the journal make $100,000, okay? At the same time, we should look at other opportunities to raise money. What are some of the other opportunities? We didn't have a chance to do it this year. And the reason why we didn't have a chance to do a lot of things this year was because, don't forget, we were crippled in the beginning because we had no money, okay? I was elected over a year ago, etc., but it took 6 months for me to have any ability to draw 1 cent, okay, from the accounts. So we started a little bit late. But what are some of the things that we should look for? I think what we should do, quite frankly, is have people donate money against the parade itself, okay? Why shouldn't we have benefactors put in money for the parade itself? In other words, why can't we have $50,000 for you to be a benefactor of the parade, etc.? I thought about doing it this year. We just didn't have time to do it this year, but if we did it this year, I think we could have raised even more money, okay? I'm not talking about grand marshals. I'm not talking about $25,000 tables, etc. I'm talking about actually people donating and being benefactors for the parade itself. So we should look at those things. Now, I'm sure some people who have not given one dime, will look at the numbers and look at hundreds of thousands of dollars and say, oh, the Federation has hundreds of thousands of dollars. But what was that money really used for over the years? The money was used for to take care of this premises, by the way, which has been allowed to deteriorate over a number of years because of the lack of money. So my opinion, going forward, if you guys unite, etc., this building should be renovated because this building is an asset that could generate a tremendous amount of money. Also, I believe that you have the ability to put another floor on this building. This building, this federation, could be the major cultural organization in New York. You can do it. If you have one federation, great leadership, there's no reason why we can't have all types of events here. There's no reason why we can't build another floor on top of this. There's no reason why other organizations can use this facility. There's no reason for all that type of stuff. So what am I saying? What am I saying is unite, have the appropriate leadership, and I believe that the Federation will rise again, and I have great hopes for the Federation. And thank you again for giving me the honor of being your chairman. Are there any questions for you? Any questions?
One,
Yes.
It was a beautiful parade. It was a great parade. We made a lot of money. The only thing that was lacking this year,
Yes.
compared to other years, that the committee, all the members of all the committees and all the names, they deserve to have the photo taken in the back of the book. This didn't happen this year, that's one. And the next question that I have for the new people that will take over is for the committee to have one table for the people that work hard for this committee, not for myself. I always buy a table. For people that I cannot afford to come in to the dinner, they can sit and eat for free. They deserve that. That's all I have to say.
Listen, let me say one thing about that. No, I hear what you're saying. Let me say one thing about that. Don't forget, we had two events. We had two events for all the people that were basically contributed, who were members of the committees, etc., which I paid nothing for, by the way. Okay, those two events, people may not understand the economics of those two events, but those two events probably amounted to about $400 per person. There were two events that had just about everybody who contributed time. We cannot donate tables to people who worked in different categories, because that's the moneymaker. We already had, like I said, 6 to 7 tables in the past, okay, that we would have to comp to give to people. When you really do an analysis, and when you look at the numbers that I mentioned to you, no money was made in the last few years. No money was made. It was nothing. It was peanuts. It was peanuts. Think about it.
Yeah.
And why was it peanuts? It was peanuts because of these type of things. We're going to give this for free. We're going to give that for free. We're going to do this for free. This year, we honored the people who worked in the various committees. We had two events that, again, if you add up the numbers, it's close to $400 a person. Okay, we did that. Yes. Any other question? Yes.
Εγώ θέλω να σας συγχαρώ για ό,τι καταφέρατε, που ήταν πολύ σημαντικά. Όμως θα ήθελα να πω ότι, σαν chairman, κύριε Κάτσο, κάνετε ένα μεγάλο λάθος να βάλετε στο bowling green μια καινούρια πλακέτα, η οποία αναφέρει στο τέλος το όνομά σας. Εγώ σας είχα αναφέρει σε μια εδώ πανομογενειακή ότι θα πρέπει να καθαριστεί η πρώτη πλακέτα, η οποία είναι αφιερωμένη την ημέρα που έγινε η πρώτη έπαρση της ελληνικής σημαίας, και υπάρχει ολόκληρο ιστορικό γι' αυτό. Δεν αναφέραμε κανένα όνομα, όποιον και αν δούλεψε για αυτό το θέμα, και υπάρχει το ιστορικό ακριβώς σε αυτή την πλακέτα, πολύ λακωνικό. Αυτό το οποίο βάλατε εσείς, πιστεύω, δεν έπρεπε να γίνει, και νομίζω ότι είναι ντροπή να προβάλλουμε το όνομά μας, ενώ αυτό είναι μια προσφορά από την ομογένεια και πολύ περισσότερο από την ελληνοαμερικανική κοινότητα. Διότι τα λεφτά, όταν έκανα το fundraising, δόθηκα μέσα σε 15 λεπτά από τον απλό τον κόσμο. Λοιπόν, αυτό νομίζω ότι δεν σας τιμά με το να θέλετε να βάλετε το όνομά σας εκεί, σε αυτή την πλακέτα, η οποία είναι πολύ μεγαλύτερη από την προηγούμενη, ενώ έπρεπε να καθαριστεί η προηγούμενη, να φαίνεται και να είναι καθαρή. Γιατί εκεί πηγαίνει πολλοί κόσμος καθημερινός για τον τάβρο που υπάρχει εκεί πέρα, και θα μπορούσαν να διαβάσουν αυτό το μικρό ιστορικό, που είναι πολύ μικρό, λακωνικό, και διαβάζεται εύκολα, αρκεί να είναι καθαρό. Ευχαριστώ.
Okay, so let me respond to you. When you say that I put up that plaque, I did not put up any plaque, and I'll discuss it why. I have nothing to do with putting up a plaque. I had nothing to do with the language of the plaque. I had nothing to do with the location of the plaque. I did not install the plaque. I did not take down any plaques or whatever. This was done strictly by somebody else, not the Federation, not by me as the chairman of the parade committee. This was done by the Bowling Green Association by themselves, not by me. Not by me.
You accepted it.
Not by me. I didn't accept anything. The only thing that I did is donated towards it. That's all. I didn't put it up or whatever. And not only that, let me say one thing. Have you read what it says?
Yes.
Okay. Who does it honor? I know you don't like my name on it, but who does it honor? It honors you.
No.
Yes, it honors you. Because if you read it, it says in the 30-year anniversary of 1996, when that thing was put up, and when other people's nations are able to put up their flags on that particular pole. Now, to respond to your thing about the back plaque, you can talk to the Bowling Green Association and ask them to change the back plaque and put whatever you want on it. My language was not in that plaque. That was not my language. I did not put my name on it. I did not put it up. And if you want to take it down, talk to them to take it down. It doesn't bother me. Okay? But I've received some nonsense type of stuff in the papers, which quite frankly is very insulting to me, and it's not right. If you want to do something, talk to them, take it down. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me in any way. And as a matter of fact, talk to them about your little plaque and put whatever language you want. And you know what? I'll donate money to that too.
No, it's not a matter of.
No, you're missing the point. You're missing the point because it's about you.
No, I don't.
You're missing the point because it's about you.
No.
I honored you. In spite of what I honored you.
Mr. Katsas, it's not about me. I haven't put my name on the plaque.
I didn't put my name on the plaque.
Somebody else put it and you accepted it.
Listen, it's not my flag. It's not my flagpoles.
If you do not accept it, you are
What
not
are you
put it
talking
there.
about accept? It's not my thing. I didn't close it. I didn't open it up. I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?
When I asked you what is the plaque going to say, you told me, I'm not going to tell you, you're going to see it.
Because I didn't know what the plaque was going to say. It was hidden. You saw it was hidden. Come on, somebody.
No.
Listen, if you want to change, listen, do me a favor.
First of all, it's the responsibility.
No, do me a
of the
favor. Do me a
federation.
favor. Talk to them. Take down the plaque. Tell them to take down the plaque. I'll give you my okay. Take down the plaque.
It's the responsibility of the federation.
Leave it alone.
It has nothing to do with the federation.
Oh, yes.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
The federation,
No. It has nothing to do with the federation.
that plaque, it was done. And
Leave it alone.
it
Look,
says
stop.
there
Don't answer no more
by the
questions.
federation.
It was not you, it was
Sir, I'm
the
not talking to
city
you.
board. The
Sir,
city
I'm not
board.
talking to you,
But
okay?
ξέρω τι θα κάνει. Συγγνώμη, καθίστε, τελείωσε.
No.
Δεν μπορούμε να κάνουμε.
All right, any other questions like this? Because I like these type of questions, by the
No,
way.
I just
Because
wanna
it's a
ask,
whole bunch of
What
stuff.
time
that
is the
happens.
drawing on Sunday?
I'm sorry?
Is the raffle drawing on Sunday and
Yes,
what time?
raffle.
Sunday at 2 o'clock, right?
2 o'clock.
By the way, I'd like to ask you guys to ask any question that you've seen in any ridiculous newspaper articles, and I'll respond to them. Any one of them, by the way.
I have two comments.
Yes, please.
One was the acoustics were not very good this year. A lot of people didn't hear our national anthem. Some people called.
Where were you, where?
In the parade, the acoustics, they said they couldn't hear. The people that were in this stands.
Okay.
Now, another thing is that the printing came too late. We didn't have enough time to give invitations to people. I collected for the journal. I couldn't give 2 invitations to people out of courtesy, and the people that were in charge would not give them because they didn't have them.
I know.
Okay, and there were a lot of stands that were empty, and that was sad.
Let me explain that. I think we can explain that probably. One of the things with the journal, by the way, had to do with the fact that we just were not collecting enough money for the journal. And as a matter of fact, we brought it up more than once at every meeting that we had. We extended the journal date, and it caused other issues, I think, correct?
Look, unfortunately, everything always comes down to one person in that office.
Yeah.
And anybody wants to volunteer, next year is very welcome to volunteer.
We agree. By the way, we agree with your points.
Our secretary, he can't do everything by himself there all day.
No,
He
he
needs
needs an
another 1 or 2 secretaries to work part-time at least. You know, one person cannot do everything. And I gotta tell you, Lou, I wanna say something. I came in and I asked for 4 passes for the grandstand for my association because we have some people that wanted to sit, they cannot walk down the parade. I had to beg to get those passes. So this is not right. There should be somebody responsible for that, and not the same person that is collecting raffle tickets, that is trying to do the drawing or whatever, that is trying to do write the letters or to send out the thing. We need another secretary is needed. And another thing, since we're on the topic and I'm speaking, I would like to say that the Greek American media has done a lot over the last 40, 45 years that we covered here. And there was no respect this year. We heard a lot of stuff from different people from your committee about the media. Now, certain people write against you or they write for you. but there was never any mention. If you have somebody there that you think wrote bad things about the Homospondia and about your committee, point out those people out, not put everybody together in the same.
No, you know who they are. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
No, it wasn't you, so I
Yeah,
It's
but,
not fair.
you know, they forget how much Mr. Katos gave to this parade. But let's.
That's
say-
not the question.
Listen,
We
forget
know
about me.
he's a great giver. We know that.
Forget about me, it's not about me.
Say the truth, because you did donate a lot, more than other people in the past.
Here's the truth. The truth is that this has been the most successful parade in the last 5 years. That's the truth.
That's correct. That is all about it.
And by the way, some of the complaints that you have, they're absolutely legitimate. And I'm so glad that I hate to say that they're minor, because they're not minor, but they're not big issues. I don't know if you know what I'm saying, big financial issues. So, thank you all. Any other questions?
Yes,
Yes, please.
the three-pronged question, actually, if you can. You refer to the best parade that we've ever had.
Yes.
And the first question is, could you give us an evaluation of what do you think of the participation of the Greeks, the Hellenics in the area, and the number, and so on and so forth? The second question, let me finish this, so I don't interrupt you again. The second question is, what is your evaluation of the spreading of the message to the American, I'm talking about the area, the New York area, the United States, the knowledge and the spreading of this great parade of the Hellenics together. And the third question is.
Stick with the two. No, we'll come to the third.
Okay.
So on the participation, let me say something about the participation, because I think it's very important. We could have raised a lot more money this year, and in the past years, by the way, but the fact that there was a splintered federation created a situation where many people did not want to be involved or help in any way in this particular parade. So there were people that I spoke to, that I asked, who worked last year, etc. And, please work with us, be involved in this parade, and they didn't want to be involved in the parade, because they claimed that they wanted the two sides to unite immediately, okay? And we had this discussion where I said to everybody, and that's why I couldn't get the money for 6 months. I couldn't get 1 cent, okay? For 6 months, I had to do all types of things to get the money, because the whole thing was that we're not gonna turn over the money to you. And by the way, it's not gonna happen to anybody going forward. Our money is gonna go to the next party. We're not gonna hold the money for 6 months like what happened before. It's never gonna happen. So getting back to the participation. So we ourselves within a federation did not support this parade properly. So when you talk about participation, internally to this federation, there were people and societies of this federation who did not support this particular parade. Because we could have done a lot better. Even though we did great financially, we could have done a lot better. Now, in terms of the American public, I agree with you. Okay, there's not enough use of all types of media to make people understand what we tried to talk about this year of the importance of this particular parade. This particular parade, in my opinion, as I've mentioned 100 times, is not just a Greek parade. It's an American parade, and it's also a parade that should include other people who participated in the revolution, the Greek Revolution. In this particular parade, we tried to bridge the gap a little bit. We had the Haitians march with us, and we even had the Jewish Greeks who never marched with us to march with us, and other parties. We should increase that. This particular parade, which we didn't do before, is we had the professional societies a little bit more involved, but not enough involved, okay? And in terms of the participation, I'm in absolute agreement with you that we have to work on, number one, getting other people involved in the parade, because it's their parade also. It's a Greek parade, of course, but it's also their parade. And also we have to go to the Americans. We have to go to the Americans. So we had 5 or 6 lectures on America's influence on the Greek Revolution and on the Greek Revolution's effect on America. We should have a lot more people involved in this. We have to get the message out, and I agree with you. The second question again?
Yeah, no, that's the second question. I agree with you that the participation and the echo that went out to the American public was not your fault, not my fault, was very poor.
No, it's our fault. It's our fault. It's our, listen, we can do better.
I don't think anybody.
No, we can do better. We can do better. I agree with you. We can do better.
I don't think anybody heard it. But my third question is, in comment, do you think we approach the issue of the Hellenic problem, meaning our relationship with the mother country? I'm talking about Greece and the Greeks here, where we, as you know, if I may remind you, that we had the Pontius this time, and they killed 339,000 people, I read, simply by killing them all. We had the 1999 day. In 1922, we had the spilling. And then in the 1950s, we had Constantinople.
Yes.
And do we honor these people, or do we honor people that should not be honored because they did not participate, because they simply rekindle the hatred instead of rejoicing and reviving our objectives in this large country, which is influential, as you know. What happened to our political presence? I rather show up with a political presence, you, of course, as the chair, and the others, and receive them well, as opposed to having other expressions.
I think this particular issue, I think we can have, it's really not tied in so much to the Federation and the parade, etc. However, it's a very important discussion that we should have. Okay, exactly what you talk about. I think we can do it on an intellectual level. I think we can do seminars here about exactly what you talked about. We're not recognizing not only the Pontian genocide, but the Hellenic genocide and the Christian genocide in general. As we know, about 3.25 million people were murdered. Okay, there was about 1.25 million Hellenists. There was 1.5 million Armenians. There were 750,000 Assyrians. Okay, I've done 30 lectures or 40 lectures on the genocide, so the genocide is something I'm very attuned to. However, the linkage between Hellas and Hellenic Americans is a big topic that is not part of this discussion, but it's a discussion we should have. Any other questions? Yes.
Going forward, let's say we unite and we want to bring the Evzones. What is the cost of the Evzones?
I don't know what the cost of the Evzones are. Don't forget, the Evzones was always part of the Federation. When you had the Federation had their first parades in 1938, I think it was. They brought in the Evzones in 1949. That was the first year that happened, and every year after that, the Federation controlled the Evzones. Now, when the trouble started, okay, in 22 actually, it was in 22, because of different issues, etc. You know, the Archdiocese obviously got involved and they raised the money to bring the Evzones. Okay, and they've done that since. My opinion is the Evzones belong to the Federation. Okay, and the Federation should take care of that issue once they're united, etc. Have the discussion. They can raise the money like anybody else can raise the money to have the Evzones. Because I don't believe, just my opinion, I don't believe that the Evzones are properly situated here and do what they should do for the community. Like, for example, they used to go to schools. I remember the Evzones when they were here. They would go to different schools, they would dance, etc. And they were part of the community. It's become a little bit different in the last few years, and I think that has to change. But I leave it to the Federation to have that discussion. Any other questions? Yes.
I wanted to make a statement, because it's not on the expense report.
Yes.
But I want to first thank you, Lou, for being an excellent chair, and for also recognizing the young professional youth. You're one of the few that have. And I want to say that even though it's not listed on the expense
It should be
report,
listed.
we raised over $400, and we have no expenses to our committee. Everything was a donation. People that are
and thank you for mentioning the youth. Listen, guys. Nothing is more important to the youth than the youth. Okay, and this year they did in fact come to a lot of the meetings. They did in fact do a lot of events. I think next year and years forward, you've got to use them more and more and more, because I think it's extremely important. Any other questions? Yes.
Not a question. I just would like to make a statement. First of all, I'm glad that we're united today. And I would like to thank you, Lou, for your leadership. We may have whatever issues, always you try to resolve the issues, and you led. And you led by example. And also, we did two things that we have not done in the past. The one was to combine the lectures and the many cultural events. There are 23 major or important cultural events in this parade, associated with the parade. The second thing was, you mentioned the professionals that mingled with us and came together and were more prominent. The third was that even though we didn't have the American media, the mainstream that we would like, we had two major channels, Channel Fox and New York One, covering the parade. I would like to thank all the television groups, especially Antenna, that they helped, and of course, all of the other local media here, they done their best. And finally, we had, for the first time, a drone that was donated, by the way. They didn't charge any money. And you're gonna see, thanks to Bronx Net, the entire thing is uploaded on the YouTube of the Federation. And we had the sound of the announcers synchronized with the parade. So, can we do it better? Yes, of course. If we are united and we elect as we hope, and I would like to congratulate Nomiki and Dimos, Nomiki Katsanas and Dimos Yokis, for their efforts. We're going to have a unified election